Heather McDonald has got the juiciest scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales, her real life Mr. Segment serial data and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Woo woo. Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. You guys, I'm recording this on June 25th. You're listening to it on the 26th, 2025. And actually today, June 25th, was when my first episode of Juicy Scoop ever dropped in 2015. That day, it happened to be a Thursday. So thank you for sticking with me all these years. I'm wearing one of our special limited edition Juicy Scoop anniversary shirts and very excited. I'm also very excited to tell you guys, you've been asking and wondering, Heather, are you going to be at BravoCon weekend in Las Vegas? And please tell me you're having a show. Well, your prayers have been answered. The tickets are available right now if you're Patreon. There's a special code that you can only find on Patreon. For everyone else, you can buy the tickets starting tomorrow. That's June 27th and Friday. You'll be able to buy the tickets. It's a show on Friday, November 14th. It's a live Juicy Scoop, which will be very Bravo-centric, classic Bravo, funny, special guests. It'll be at MGM, and that's at 10 p.m. on November 14th, which is perfect. So you can add it to your plans if you're going to just do one day of BravoCon or a few special events. This is perfect. You can get a beautiful dinner before and laugh your ass off Friday night, November 14th. So get on that. Go to heathermcdonald.net. This is where you can also buy the merch. Also, this shirt, which I thought was a little much to be wearing myself, but it's been selling very well and very nice, soft quality. There you go. Couple updates before we get to our very juicy interview that we did record last week with Sam Asghari, who is Britney Spears' ex-husband and also a rising actor, and such an interesting conversation. It's pretty. I was really surprised how much he shared. So very juicy, very excited for you guys to listen to that. First, let's get into some hot topics. All right. This just happened today in the Diddy trial. No, this is nothing gross. I'm just giving you some updates. Prosecutors have dropped kidnapping, arson, and certain sex trafficking charges. So they're getting ready to close their arguments, and then the jury will go. And so the prosecution has said, don't focus on these things. We're not even going for those. So people are speculating, could he in fact walk? Now, in order to get the racketeering and all that, they still have to convict him of that. That's why this case is confusing, and that's why I'm not going to try to explain it perfectly. But, because I think some of the victims, like Cassie and the other Jane Doe, I think that it is going to be hard for a jury to say, well, I know they were willing at this time, but this time they weren't. And is the sex trafficking of bringing male sex workers across state lines to have these fun hotel nights in which everyone was an adult? Is that really a crime? So they have to they very specific instructions on what crimes he in fact has broken. Which would be part of the racketeering. So it is very confusing. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know that he'll get 20 years or something. I would guess probably not. I am going to predict that he's going to get like 36 months and do 21 of them. That's just my prediction. This episode of Juicy Scoop is brought to you by Booking.com, Booking.yeah. Whether you're booking for yourself, your partner, your picky teens, or your sleep light mother-in-law, you can find exactly what you're booking for on Booking.com. What I really love about a vacation is at the end of it, you all had a great time because you chose the right place. So if my family can find the perfect stay on booking.com, anyone can. Find exactly what you're booking for. Booking.com, booking.yeah. Book today on the site or in the app. This episode of Juicy Scoop is sponsored by Honeylove. I absolutely love Honeylove. It snatches my waist, gives me a booty, and is comfortable under these cute little summer outfits I am wearing. Treat yourself to the most comfortable shapewear on earth and save 20% off site-wide at honeylove.com/juicy. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off. honeylove.com/juicy. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them Juicy Scoop sent you. Experience the new standard in shapewear with Honeylove. Okay, also, now when I said a couple weeks ago, I think it was for my YouTube thumbnail, as you will, you have to do a short title. I said, Blake Lively wins. Justin Baldoni had, the judge had thrown out his defamation lawsuit against her and New York Times and Ryan Reynolds. Then people said, she didn't win. He's still going to refile more. He can still refile certain aspects of the lawsuit or something. Well, according to TMZ, Justin Baldoni's lawyer says he won't refile claims against Blake Lively after all. So there's a lot of speculation about why, if in fact this is a real win for Blake, if what other tactic they might take, if they might just do some settlement, if they might retract it all, I don't know. But Blake Lively and Taylor still not hanging out, okay? And just like that, we had another episode. And you guys are going to be shocked by what I'm going to tell you. There are certain things about And Just Like That that I do think they are doing right, okay? And one actually is, I've now changed my mind based on the last episode, is Carrie dating Aiden. Because it's exploring the fact that he's divorced with kids. And where does she fit into that? And that is juicy because when you're in your 50s and the kids are almost out of the house, maybe a few years, I have friends in that position. And the smart ones are waiting to move in, actually, with their soon-to-be fiance. They will get married, but they are actually waiting for the youngest one to go off to college because financially they don't have to live together, so they're not going to fuck up those teenage years that might already be fragile from a divorce. I thought they captured this really, really well. Now, we all, myself included, was like, who the fuck would wait 5 years when Aiden's like, just wait 5 years? And that whole thing was weird. But then she gets there and we see the dynamic that he's really struggling with this youngest child. And they play apples to apples. And let me tell you, if you've played apples to apples with your kids, this was a very triggering episode for me. I'm going to get into it at Patreon, why I think they actually got this moment. And I do think now she'll be able to date other people. And I would like to just see this storyline go away. But because, I think one of the things, the problem is that people are like, these characters are different. And this isn't, Sex and the City. And yeah, because when you're in your 30s during Sex and the City, which they were, they would go on these dates and she'd find this cute guy and, he lives with his parents. And now I have to deal with the weird, parents or like weird mother-in-laws. Like when Charlotte got married in towards the end of the season, she had a mean mother-in-law. Well, now when you date in your 50s, it's not the parents that are barely hanging on to life, if they are, that you have to deal with, the in-laws or your boyfriend's parents. It is their kids. And at that point, you're not looking to be a stepmom. You can't parent them. And you're like, maybe I don't want to fuck with these weird kids right now at this stage in my life. It's not like you're dating someone and the kid is 3. It's a totally different story. So that is very juicy. Miranda, we miss Chase so much. I miss Rosie O'Donnell. This chick that she's starting a relationship with is not funny. It's not clever. She's not particularly sexy. She's pretty boring. She's a boring English, gold star lesbian, and it's just boring. So that I didn't love. And there was one funny line. There was one funny line during the dinner with Charlotte. Harry's old father comes and they announce that, by the way, we're way too into the kid's sex life. I agree with that. But her daughter is dating a hot ballerina, a male ballerina. And the old man goes, well, in my day, male ballerinas had boyfriends. And then the guy goes, oh, I have a boyfriend too. And they're like, and Charlotte with her eyes, whoop! And then her daughter goes, yeah, whatever his name is, Marco is polyamorous. He's poly. And then and then the old grandpa goes, Polly wants a brisket? And like Polly wants a cracker? And I gotta say, that pun made me chuckle. Old Jew humor can be funny. It can be funny. And to me, it made me laugh. So the rest of the people, who cares? Don't matter. All right. The biggest wedding of the century. Bigger than, well, maybe not bigger than Meghan Markle, but since Meghan Markle's wedding, this wedding in which Lauren Sanchez is getting married for either her second or third time, not that it matters, to Jeff Bezos. I think it's his second. They're doing it in Venice. There's a lot of people in Venice saying they're not happy about it, and they put these big signs up, go away, all of this. Well, they did an invite that some people thought was a tacky invite, but I actually thought it was a pretty smart way to ingratiate yourself to the people of Venice. And it was kind of the art around it is weird, which will show it. But it said, we're excited for you to join us. The reports are that each guest is costing about $50,000 from beginning to end. I can't imagine them picking up their flights. They all have private planes, but for whatever this wedding is, they're estimating each guest is costing them $50,000. They're asking for no gifts. Do you imagine? She's like registered at Macy's and you're like, oh, I got you the butter house or whatever. But they are saying, but instead, we're making contributions in your honor with gratitude to you for making the journey to celebrate with us in Venice. Donations on your behalf are being made. Oh, they're not even asking for donations. They're saying they are making all the donations to 2 different charities in Venice for the lagoon habitat to protect Venice's future. This magic place has gifted us an unforgettable memory. Our hope is that through these efforts, and by you joining us, Venice will continue to inspire generations to come. I want to say, you guys, pretty classy, pretty nice. All right. Meanwhile, Meghan 2.0 had a premiere party, and I saw this video, and I'm like, why is Margaret Josephs dancing like that? I'm pretty impressed. Margaret Josephs of Real Housewives of New Jersey. And oh my God, between the hair and the glasses, and there were like several of these Meghan girls like dressed like this, dancing in these robot outfits. And the first comment was, I thought it was Margaret Josephs. And it is, tell me that does not look like her. Meghan Markle is releasing her first rosé as ever to go with the raspberry jam. I'm sure this will sell out as well. So who knows how many cases she made, but get on it. And it's things like this that is keeping her from continuing her podcast, which has gone on pause. She's been doing it for so long, almost as long as I have. She started April 6th of 2025 and just, woo, she is kaput, okay? Kim Kardashian, we knew this was coming, is going to produce the Bratz movie. Of course, Barbie was a huge hit and Lego was a huge hit, and now it's going to be Bratz. I think this is brilliant. I think, we grew up with Barbies. We wanted to look like Barbies. We wanted Barbie's legs. We liked Barbie's looks. My generation, Gen X. Millennials grew up with Bratz dolls. Hence why I think they like the fuller lip, the eye, the makeup, the eyelashes. All of that became the look of the millennials for the last 15 years, 20s, whatever. And I mean, I remember Mackenzie had one of these Bratz dolls, and I'm like, does it come with underwear or does she go without to get into the club for free? These are the things we used to play. Anyway, that's going to be a show, and I believe it's going to be, live action, so there'll be girls. And there was a funny part in Barbie where they thought it was supposed to be like Bratz dolls doing something, but this is separate, obviously, because it's not a Mattel thing. And there was a bidding war, and Kim's going to play a role, which she absolutely should. She started that look. But interestingly, plastic surgery and the way younger girls are doing their makeup and stuff is moving away from the filler face, the big lips. That type of look in the plastic surgery is also not working. And same with boobs. So Sammy Sheen, who is Denise Richard and Charlie Sheen's daughter, has a successful OnlyFans page. And she did a big thing where I'm not going to show my boobs until I get them done. And she got her boobs done. She has since removed them. I don't know if it was because she thought it wasn't making her feel well, like health-wise. Some people, their body just doesn't accept a foreign object like an implant. But plastic surgeons are saying the new thing is people taking their own fat to just make their own breasts a little fuller and not putting any kind of implant in it, which is kind of an interesting movement. I've said tiny tits have been in forever. Embrace those tiny tits. All right, you guys, get ready for an amazing Patreon, extra episodes this weekend. I'm going to talk about what I really thought about my episode with Sherry Papini on Patreon, and a special look on that on the Juicy Crimes level. So make sure that you're part of Patreon. And also, if you're on Patreon, go over right now if you missed the post about how you can pre-order those tickets right now. It's just one show on November 14th in Vegas at BravoCon, and it's going to be no holds bar. We will be snarky. We will tell the truth. We're going to be hilarious. There's going to be music. There's going to be impressions. There's going to be guests. It's going to be a fucking good time, and we don't give a shit, okay? So that's where you want to be. Talk to your friends. Get those tickets now before it sells out. Everything's at heathermcdonald.net. Okay, now for a very juicy, surprising interview that I did with Sam, and I hope I say his name right, Asghari. Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. Well, I'm very excited for my guest today. We have a lot to discuss. I hope I say your name right. Sam Asghari. No, Asghari.
Yes, that's pretty good.
Asghari.
Yes.
Asghari.
Yes, Asghari.
You know him
with
as
one AS, not two AS.
Yes. You know him as model, actor, also ex-husband to Britney Spears. But before we start, I just want to tell people that we recorded this on June 18th, 2025. You are originally from Iran. It's a very tumultuous time right now. We don't know when you guys are listening to this where we'll be in the world right now, but we want to be really sensitive to what's happening. So can you fill us in a little bit right now of what you're going through?
Personally, I'm a citizen of the U.S. and I've been here for quite a bit.
Well, how old were you when you came over?
I was 11 and a half, almost 12 years old in 2006 when I first moved here. And my family always knew that we were going to come to America, and America was this, land of opportunity, this out of touch reality that we always knew we were going to come. But it's a bittersweet moment to see where the country is and what people understand Iranians and Persians are. In Los Angeles, there's a lot of Persians, and if you know them, you know that they are not the same as their government. I mean, the government is called the Islamic Republic Revolution that took over in 1979, and they sort of have had, this control over the people, and there's a false narrative of Persians in Iran hate America and Israel and everything in the Western world. But the truth reality is, back in history, throughout the Iranian history, we've always loved America and we always loved Israel and everybody. Matter of fact, that country is one of the most peaceful countries in the world, and it's the oldest country in the world. And the history just, you go back to Cyrus the Great, so many inspirations came from that, anywhere between culture, history, everything. We used day-to-day things that was invented in the Persian Empire and things like that. And it's sort of a sad moment that in America, when I first moved here, people knew it as the government, and it's completely different.
There is nothing that bums me out and honestly disturbs me than going and grocery shopping, thinking about it, but worse, getting all these groceries and not using them. And that's what I love about Hungry Root. Hungry Root takes the stress out of mealtime by planning a full week of meals tailored to your taste, and it gets smarter with every order. With over 15,000 recipes to choose from, I love Hungry Root because it saved me time. It saved me from going to the grocery store. I didn't waste any food. I loved it, and my family were like impressed with my cooking recipe skills. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box. Plus, get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/juicyscoop and use code JUICYSCOOP. That's hungryroot.com/juicyscoop, code JUICYSCOOP to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. hungryroot.com/juicyscoop, code JUICYSCOOP. This episode of Juicy Scoop is brought to you by Booking.com, Booking.yeah. Hopefully you get to go on a vacation this summer, or many, and you and your loved ones have figured out the destination. But now, where do you stay? You might have a mother-in-law that's very particular. You might have some kids that need that really great pool to get that energy out. That's where Booking.com, Booking.yeah can give you everything that you need. Whether you're booking for yourself, your partner, your picky teens, or your sleep light mother-in-law, you can find exactly what you're booking for on Booking.com. What I really love about a vacation is at the end of it, you all had a great time. Like if you're sitting in the airport waiting to get on a flight and you are like, yeah, that was a really perfect trip. Everyone felt happy. Everybody's needs were met because you chose the right place. So if my family can find the perfect stay on Booking.com, anyone can. Find exactly what you're booking for. Booking.com, Booking.yeah. Book today on the site or in the app. How old are you now?
I'm 31 now.
So what year did you say you came here?
In 2006.
So I grew up here too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember being young and, knowing about the influx of Iranian citizens coming to, in particular, very much LA, Valley, Los Angeles, Beverly Hills. And my parents were in real estate, and a lot of the real estate was being bought by Iranians. A lot of realtors were Iranians. And in my home, it was very positive.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes.
I hope that you felt it was positive
Well,
for
we
you,
live in
because
LA.
it was not ever a negative thing. It was
Never,
the
yeah.
exact same thing that they left a regime that was not treating people well to come here, and they were successful. And my favorite thing about my Persian friends is the cultural thing of that if you compliment them on something, they give it to you.
Yes.
I always tell the story. I had a friend, my husband's friend, came over kind of like your age.
Yes.
Very American, was in the Army, and they were doing medical sales together. And so then our boys were the same age. And I went to their house, like in Sherman Oaks, and her little boy was like just a couple months older than mine. And he had this like swinging bassinet thing. And I go, oh, I want to get that for Drake. And she took her son out, and she's like, no, you take it. Like, what are you talking about? She's like, he's fine. We have something else. You take that.
Yes.
I want you to have it. And I was like, oh my God, everyone needs to compliment a Persian friend. And
Yeah, they will give it to you. They're generous, and it's almost rude if you don't take it.
yeah, I took it.
Yeah, so it's a weird thing because I was born in Iran, but when I moved here in 2006, my number one objective was to fit into the culture because we loved America. I mean, like I was just in love with the flag. It was just like this happy moment of coming here. And, even I part ways from my family. I moved here alone. My sisters were still stuck back there because of the immigration system.
And were your sisters older?
They were the youngest. I have three sisters. The youngest one is 8 years older than me. And they're like my little sisters, to be honest with you.
Wait, your oldest sister is 8 years older? Wait.
The youngest older sister that I have is 8.
Oh, so the little girls are all...
Yes.
Okay, so there's a big break between you and the girls.
I got an 8-year gap difference between the youngest sister, and then I have a 9-year with the middle with the middle daughter of my dad, and then the oldest is 10 years. And there are 3 sisters. They're all here. Long story short, my dad was a player growing up, and he wanted a son, and God sort of punished him by giving him 3 daughters.
Oh.
And he told me, he said, listen, I am a daddy's girl, and I love being a daddy's girl, and I would never change that. He wanted a son because in that culture, the son is to carry, the family name.
So you came over here then with who?
I came here, I moved with my dad, and my father was kind of in a situation where he had to go back and get my sister's situation right. And because of the relationships with the U.S. and Iranian government, there is not a American embassy in Iran. You have to go through Turkey or different, countries to sort of get the visa. And it took around 10 to 15 years for my sisters to get their visa. They were over the age of 18 and they had to be FBI checked. For me, it was a little bit easier because I was under the age and I didn't have to go through all that process. So my visa they give it to me right there when we took when we went for an interview. I remember I went to Turkey, Istanbul, to go to the American embassy. And I was talking to a lady and she was Korean, but she worked for the immigration and she was sort of asking me questions and things like that. And right away, she sort of gave me a visa. And then that's when I had to say bye to my mom, and my sisters were back in Iran.
So who'd you live with at 11?
So I said bye to my mom. I moved here. My dad was here. I met with my dad, and I was with my dad for a few years, and my uncle sort of took care of me at that moment. And my dad went back to situate my sister's situations, and then they moved here 6 years after me, slowly.
So when you came over here at 11,
yes,
did you speak English?
I did not, no. Yeah.
And where in LA were you living?
I was in Westlake Village, California.
Oh, that's where I live now.
Well, actually, at that time, it was Camarillo. You lived there.
Yeah.
So, and then I moved to Westlake for pretty much all my life. I went to school there.
How did you learn? How did you learn and go to school at 11?
For me, it was, like I say, it was just such a cool moment to be here. And I think at that age, I spoke Farsi. I went to school in Iran. I knew how to read and write. And I was just so enthusiastic about just being in this country that it wasn't even an issue speaking English. It was sort of a fast thing to, learn
pick up?
and pick up.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive. And how was it like making friends and things? Was that difficult?
It was very easy. No, at the time Borat came out. Do you remember Borat?
Oh, yeah.
With Sacha Baron Cohen, and that was like I was watching all these comedy movies because comedy is very effective when it comes to learning English.
Yeah, a lot of people say they would learn watching TV and stuff. That really helped them get it quick.
Yeah, and it's the actions, and it's like the Mr. Bean, the Borat comedians that they're over the top, and they sort of come here and they make fun of themselves, and people were I was doing the phrase, and all the popular kids in school were like, oh, they were calling us Borat. I had a few Persian friends as well, and we kind of fit in, using such a crazy comedy to sort of like ease our way into the popular kids and the people that were cool. And we thought we were cool, but the reality was they were just making fun of us. They were like, oh, let's just use these guys as our clown and as our thing. So it was easy. I played American sports. I played American football. I used to drink Gatorade in the morning. I thought that was like an American thing to do to fit in. So everything was,
So did you go to Westlake High?
at this time I was in middle school, eighth grade in middle school in Camarillo, a school called Monte Vista. And after that, I came to Westlake because they had like a really cool football program, and my uncle lived in Westlake, so that's when I went to Westlake High School.
And then was high school better? Like, was it still a big adjustment for you?
I wasn't really, I was just so happy to be here. I wasn't even focused on the adjustment. I mean, I was so delusional that I thought people were making fun of you was that you were
complimentary.
Cool. It was complimentary.
Yeah, okay.
But, it was just a sweet moment, and I never had a tough time fitting in, and I kind of made light of the situation, made fun of myself. It was an adjustment for sure, like, because when I was in Iran, I went to all boys schools.
Oh.
So it was sort of, I had sisters, so, that whole guy to girl situation was a little bit different for people to fit in. But for me, I was raised by women, so it wasn't too awkward for me. I wasn't saying anything weird to scare off, the white girls in school and things like that. But people still found it weird that I looked older. I looked much old. I was this size. And, I had a certain haircut and facial hair that the white kids couldn't even, grow their beards and things like that. And I was, I was sort of like this 40-year-old in high school.
That's so funny.
It was fun, yeah.
And so after high school, then what did you do?
After high school, when high school was over, I tried playing football. I went to Nebraska. We had a family member in Nebraska. And part of what really helped me when you move here, you got to sort of, America is a melting pot of cultures. You got Latinos, you got Persians, you got, especially in LA, there's towns like the little, Tokyo or whatever you think of. You can sort of move into that area and you can get by, but not even speaking English. I wanted to do the opposite. I wanted to go to like the far away from Iranians and really like part ways from that culture. Because of our government. Our government is so terrible that we don't even want to be associated with that. I wanted to change my name. My name was Hassam, my first name, Hesam.
Oh.
And I changed it to Sam because it was more pleasant.
Yeah, more American, yeah.
More American. And I did all that stuff and sort of, it took me maybe about 2 years to speak fluent English and sort of, learn how to sit down and eat properly and become American and celebrate American things. And that lifestyle was just so cool for me that I embraced it really fast.
So when you were in Nebraska, were you going to the college there, trying to play football?
I went to, my family had businesses there. We had, they had a couple gas stations. So I was going there to help them out for summer. And because I was working multiple jobs trying to support myself and things like that. And at that time, I went there to play sports as well. I was like, maybe I'm here. Let's just play football there for a few months. But Nebraska is tough. I was homesick. You can't, when you come to California or New York.
There's no place like it.
There's no, it was a bunch of corn and food, and I was gaining so much weight. So I came back to LA. I went to this community college, Moore Park Community College, and I played football there. But at that time, it was, I was an adult, so I had to take care of myself and things like that. So I was working multiple jobs and playing a sport and things like that. And then sports were becoming, when you play sports, it's sort of a full-time job. And I was getting fired from my work because I was trying to navigate and go back and forth between practices. And I was lying to people, taking a lunch break, but going to football practice and showing up late to places. And then I got fired from a few things. So, that's when reality hit, is like, are you going to make it into sports or are you going to focus on certain things? And at that time, I was adjusting with my weight. Because when you play sports, you weigh a certain way and things like that. And that's when the opportunity of commercial acting and modeling came into place.
So did someone approach you or what?
It wasn't somebody that approached me. I mean, in school, I was also doing, drama and all that good stuff. I always had loved for acting and things like that. So it was sort of a moment where I was realizing that what was working for me. And then, I got into like a couple music videos and a couple agents reached out, a couple fashion shows wanted me to walk on the thing. And at that time, I didn't want to do modeling. I wanted to focus on acting. So I started reaching out to agents and started like fake it till you make it moment, where I was, had one of my good friends made a fake web Gmail and was pitching me out to agents. And
So he was pretending to be your agent.
yeah, he was.
I love that.
Yeah, he was pretending to be, and my whole life has been sort of, you have to go above and beyond and sort of fake it till you make it to get there. And it's a cool moment to look back and make fun of the reality of it.
Making money moves should be easy, and that's exactly why there's Cash App. It's safe and honestly just way more personalized than other apps out there. No extra hoops to jump through, no extra stress. All the tools are right there to help you cash in. Plus, sending money with Cash App actually really feels safe. They look out for you. So if something seems sketchy or they see that you might be sending money to a potential scammer, they'll warn you and make you think twice before you hit send. It's like having a personalized bodyguard for your cash. That is what I really love. I love that about Cash App because there's a lot going on and you don't want to be scammed or have anyone take your money. For a limited time only, new Cash App users can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. For real, there's no catch. Just download Cash App and sign up. Use our exclusive referral code JuicyScoop in your profile. Send $5 to a friend within 14 days and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Summer is here, and you know what that means. It's time for breezy dresses, bold colors, and all the effortlessly cool looks you've been waiting to wear. Let's talk about what's underneath, because the right shapewear can really make the difference. Honey Love's targeted compression smooths and shapes exactly where you want it, and you get such great confidence. But the most important thing is that Honey Love is comfortable. Honey Love has your back, your curves, and your comfort covered all season long. I absolutely love Honey Love. It snatches my waist, gives me a booty, and is comfortable under these cute little summer outfits I am wearing. Treat yourself to the most comfortable shapewear on earth and save 20% off site-wide at honeylove.com/juicy. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off. honeylove.com/juicy. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them Juicy Scoop sent you. Experience the new standard in shapewear with Honey Love. I'm sure you guys are creative and sometimes get these great ideas. And you wonder, hey, can AI build a website for me for this? Well, turns out it can. At Wix.com, you can answer a few questions and get a beautiful business-ready site in minutes. And this is not just skim the surface type AI. This tech goes deep, all the way from generating unique visuals to an AI agent setting up a marketing campaign for you. Wix puts incredible website creation at your fingertips. With their AI site builder, you answer a few questions and get a personalized, business-ready site fast. Wix has been pioneering in website tech for almost 20 years. These guys seriously understand web design and what it takes to run your own business. Ready to create your own website? Go to Wix.com. That's Wix.com to start building your website today. Thanks, Wix, for sponsoring Juicy Scoop. I noticed this too about your look, and what's good is like if I was a casting director, if I was an agent, I was trying to pitch you. What's great about you for an actor is that you could play many different ethnicities. Like you could play Latino, you could play Italian,
Yes.
as well as something Middle Eastern.
Yes.
Did you find that was a good thing? Like people clued into that too?
Yeah, at that time, I was still, more muscular. And that was an issue because you don't want to be too muscular. You get
To
typecasted.
fit in the suits and stuff?
To fit in, anything really.
Yeah.
Like I was still wearing, it's not a good look. And that was the only issue that I was fighting with. But as far as being ethnically ambiguous, that was really good to have. Like I was playing Latinos. I did a Target commercial right off the bat, one of my first commercials, Super Bowl commercial, and things like that. And that's when it was like I want to start going into TV and film. And how much of that do I want to do commercial? Do I want to do sports modeling? I have to pick and choose to see where I go from there.
So it was a music video in which you met your ex-wife, Britney Spears, right? And that was quite a while ago, like 10 years ago now, that you guys first started.
I think
first got together?
was in 2017, that music video. Yes.
And when you started to date and become romantic, like, what did your friends and family think? Like, you're with this very, very famous pop star. Like, was it?
You know, I'm blessed, and it's a very unique thing to have in everywhere, because you don't pick your family. So certain people are not blessed with the love and support that I've had from my family that went beyond what was, what was the Hollywood like. Like, nobody really cared about that as much. It was surreal, but our biggest, especially me, my biggest accomplishment to this day, or the biggest thing, was coming to America was just so far-fetched and such a amazing thing. And that's what the biggest win was. And the rest of it was icing on the cake. And we're here now. And my responsibility is to take advantage of the opportunities that we have. And anything that comes to it is just, it's an icing on the cake. And the greatest thing about that is my sisters and my mom and dad at the time, they were just happy to see me, be here and take advantage of the opportunity, because where I'm from, it takes a lot of luck and it takes a lot of things to just be here. Like I said, fake it till you make it, like hustling, going out of your way and doing things. But also a lot of it was luck. So it was sort of enjoying the moment and going with the flow. And it wasn't sort of, because things could get weird, when people get popular, when people get known for something, your loved ones are the people that could damage you. And I'm just so blessed that I never had that. It was just, they wanted me to be okay, be happy, and protect myself. And because of my upbringing and my culture and the experiences that I had growing up, I was maybe at that time 20, 21, but the experiences I had was equivalent to like a 40-year-old, not just my looks.
Yeah.
So it was sort of I was grounded person to realize that it was a blessing to have all these opportunities, but it wasn't they weren't so excited for me because something was happening that usually doesn't happen. They just wanted me to protect myself.
I remember a few years ago, before you got married, I had Lance Bass on the show. And I said, and he had been friends with Britney for many years.
Yes.
He happened to be there the crazy night that she had her, 72-hour Vegas marriage or whatever, of like how random that was. But I said, what is with this guy? Sam, what do you think? And he said, he's great. He says, he's a really good guy. I remember that. He's like, he's really great for her. And what was it like when you guys were together and she wasn't out of the conservatorship? Because I think people were always like, you weren't the husband, but how awkward it must have been, like how you were navigating that time. Can you speak on that at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just, coming to America America is this free country, right? And having 3 sisters, the main reason why we even came here was to have freedom. And when we came here, that was the main thing. And for me to see somebody in America, regardless of being a pop star, regardless of being famous, that is not free, it was sort of really weird for me. And that's when I realized this is a very weird situation, and this is unheard of. I didn't think this could have happened in America. So it was, it was about just going through the flow and seeing why that even happened and why somebody's family could, take an advantage. Taking advantage, taking control of a situation, how Hollywood could, sort of be evil in a way. And it happens to many other people as well. This wasn't the situation, but that experience alone sort of got me ready to where I want to be in life. to see what is the most important. Is it important to be famous? Is it important to sort of sacrifice certain things just to get a certain thing? So that experience, I was blessed to sort of have like a college crash course into Hollywood, and that taught me that the whole experience taught me so much. And I've already experienced so much in my life. As a 21-year-old, I was already far more experienced than most of the 21-year-olds here, and now I get to experience Hollywood backwards, sort of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Because you were so famous, and now you're like, building your way like a normal actor. I want to ask you about the wedding.
Yes.
Because, it was like this surprise wedding, and these big stars were there, Paris and, Kathy Hilton, Drew Barrymore, all these people that were her friends. But we, as the people at home, it looked like you guys like called up people that morning. Like how impromptu, because of the media, was that wedding?
Everything was that. My whole relationship was, you don't need to call up media for it. It was always on the news. It was always anything you do. You post the Instagram thing. It makes it to TMZ and all these different outlets. So it's just, you don't even have to go. It was sort of actually a private, intimate moment, and it was people that she admired and she wanted there. So it's just.
And your family was there? My
family was there. Yes, of course they have to be there. My family, but my family was always supportive. They did not. Nobody on my side of the family really cared of who was. I mean, one of my friends didn't even know who Madonna was. So it's sort of.
Madonna was there too, right? Yeah.
So it's sort of like, I've had this blessing of my circle was the only thing they cared about is my happiness, and if I have to protect myself and my health.
And so I'm guessing, because I had said this, I'm guessing it was a difficult place to be her husband.
I wouldn't say difficult at all. Like I said, my life has been, I've gone through far experiences throughout my life just to be in this country. And so like Hollywood was sort of very easy for me to handle. And I was blessed to have the experience to sort of understand what it is and kind of dissect it and reverse psychology it and see where it goes. So I can use it in my career.
Right. But
Yes.
I'm just saying, like, I remember, I think people were always, it must have been hard is what I'm saying, where people were trying to be like, oh, Sam's in this for the wrong reasons, or what's Sam doing? But they really couldn't find a lot of criticism with
Sure,
you. Nobody really had anything tangible that you ever really did wrong in this
Yes.
thing. And then when you guys broke up, I kind of said, well, like, imagine if you're Sam. Like, that is, I would imagine from what we see from the outside, without, getting too critical of her, it must have been a challenging relationship that I'm guessing you may have thought would go in a different direction after you were married.
Sure. I mean, listen.
It appeared to have not.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get it, looking from the outside in, the situation and, the age gap difference, the fame gap difference, everything that you see could be, looked at as, could be judgmental. I would have judged myself as well, and I would have judged the situation as well. But the truth is that before that, prior to that, I was already working on acting. I was I'm here in America, and that's already good enough. And that's already the biggest achievement that anybody, it's out of touch. It's so far-fetched for me to be here. It's sort of, and part of my growing up was that, I saw on Good Morning America, Arnold Schwarzenegger said this, that he was so thankful to be here. And with the immigration system that we have, it's a sensitive situation, but he was saying all the criminals that are coming to America, it's almost foolish to use this country's opportunity to commit crime, because opportunities are just so much here that anything you put in your mind to, you can succeed. And when you commit a crime, you sort of are, kind of stabbing the country in its back when it gives you so much more. And it's foolish instead of going through it legally and becoming a legal citizen and sort of having America embrace you, because America loves immigrants. We're built on immigrants. Everybody's an immigrant, including you. Your family far back came through Ellis Island, whatever.
Well, actually, my dad's mom
Yes.
came to Ellis Island from Ireland.
Okay.
And my kind of favorite story about her is, so when she got there, she was a 29-year-old single woman, which, in the 1920s is like, oh my God, I can't believe. So she just wrote 19 down.
Yes.
Her change her age to 19.
Yeah.
And then she met my grandpa, who was also 19, and then got married, had her kids, and not till she died at like 96 did the grandkids and kids like realize that she was 10 years older than their dad this entire time.
Yeah.
Because she was just, like, who cares? Like, I don't know that he knew,
Yeah.
honestly. Like, it was because of that, exactly what you said. Just
and how cool is that?
Yeah.
So it's sort of, I had this mentality of, I have this blessing, and with my blessing, there comes a, responsibility. And if I do anything to hurt that, that's going to be the universe. I always, throughout my life, so many great blessings that happen that I often, I can't say it's hard work because it's total luck. And if I mess with that, if I do anything wrong, I'm sort of messing with the blessings that are still coming, because I still have confidence in myself. I'm always going to work extremely hard and put myself out there. But if I do anything to hurt that, it's sort of, I believe in karma and universe, and the truth speaks for itself. And
so when you realized this marriage was not going to last forever, how long were you guys married for?
It was close to a year.
Oh, that's it?
Mhm.
But you were together for like what?
About 7 years.
Oh.
Yeah, the marriage wasn't, the time frame of the marriage wasn't as important as the whole experience
That's why
together.
I guess I thought it was longer.
I'm always super blessed for the experiences that I had, and super blessed for everything that we shared together. And even the tough moments that we had to share together with the media and the conservatorship and all that taught me so much. And
did the parents like you, or did they think that you were someone that had something to do with changing the conservatorship?
I sort of always wanted to support what she really wanted. And for me, it's irrelevant who likes me or who doesn't. Obviously, I'm very respectful to anyone, even if they don't have a good agenda. But for me, I don't think there was, I don't mean to sound cocky and say, oh, for me, it's not, how could you not like me? It's not the case. It's the fact that I always handled things with respect. So it was nothing to dislike, sort of. And I hope to this day I'm always respectful, and I'm always truth. And sometimes the truth may be difficult to hear, but even when you hear the truth yourself, and
So can I ask you in a respectful way?
Sure.
Did you, and don't have to get that specific, but like, was there a moment where you kind of was like, you know what, it's better that we don't stay together? Like, did you have a moment with yourself where you were like, I don't think this is going to work out. I don't think this is good for me.
That's everybody has relationships, and relationships are already tough, especially here in Los Angeles, especially in Hollywood, when your relationship is on the media all the time, especially when other people have influences, especially when there's people that block certain things and certain situations. And it's life. It sucks when things don't work out, but I never dwell on the past. If it's good or bad, I take the experience as it was, and I appreciate the experience, and I loved what happened, and it's a big part of my life. I'm always going to embrace it. I'm never going to dwell on it and never going to speak badly on it. And I'm always going to be thankful for the moments that happen and the experiences that I shared.
Did you read her book?
Yeah. I mean, I was pretty much there the whole time she was writing it.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, yes.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
So you're encouraging her to do that. Do you want to see it being made into a movie or a TV show? Because I do.
I think they're working on a movie,
yeah.
and I hope, having three sisters and my whole life goal with what's happening in the country that I was born is everything's women driven, and I always love to see women thrive. And three of my sisters are, you should see them. They're like, these lionesses, and I always called women lionesses. I think women are very powerful, and us men, we learn so much from them. And I think that story, her story, is very powerful. What she's gone through, and pretty much everybody in her life took advantage of her. And I think it's a good way to sort of show that. And I hope one day that's done, with her voice and nobody else's influence. So I'm always going to be supportive of that.
And are you dating anyone now?
Yes, absolutely.
You are?
Yes,
Who?
she's in the waiting room. You haven't met her yet.
No.
Yes.
Can you tell us anything?
Yes, I can tell you all the things.
Well, tell us. Like, how'd you meet her?
It's I wasn't planning on meeting anybody. I was just focused on myself, and I think it was a selfless moment of me taking the time to kind of heal from what was happening, and kind of setting myself, restarting and kind of like rebooting my emotions and getting my life together and things like that. Because at the end of the day, divorce is 7-year relationship is still a long relationship to adjust from.
Oh yeah.
So I wasn't looking for anybody or anything, and that's when the best things happen. And we kind of met one time, and we spoke a little bit, and then life went on, and I came back again, and we ran into each other again, and it kind of naturally happened. And she wasn't into the entertainment industry.
She's not.
She's not into entertainment industry whatsoever, and she could sort of care less about what was happening on the media, and that's a fresh breath of air. Because at the end of the day, what you see online and things like that, it's not exactly what it is. And I don't really necessarily like to consider myself as, actor, model, social media, whatever it is that I do. I still have a personal life, and I like to keep that private. And it was really sweet to have someone that took me in for who I was as a person, rather than a brand, rather than, somebody that was
married to a famous person. Yeah.
On the media for whatever reason. And that was the best part about it.
It's interesting because when all that stuff was going on and there were all the conspiracy theories, I don't know how much you saw the conspiracy theories, but I was like, fascinated about what people could kind of put together. Yes. That there was a body double at the wedding, that, it's not her. And I've met her.
Yes.
I met her one night with Cade. And now talking to you too, like looking back at everybody wondering what was really happening. And it's like, were you aware that those things were going on? That they thought like there was like a body double, like she wasn't the person that you're with. Like, would you just ever open up your phone and see something like that and laugh at it? Or what was the reaction to that stuff?
It's like I said, it's always going to be, when you're as famous as her, you're always going to get judged on, posting certain things on social media. In her case, she was so suppressed from expressing herself. And if you look at artists, Michael Jackson, I'm talking about like out of touch artists that I think some people are born to be a certain thing. And for her, she started so young.
Both child stars.
Yeah, anybody that's a child star that gets mega famous, and they have some sort of a control over them, they're not allowed to express themselves artistically. And for me, the social media posts and everything that went around was her expressing herself, whatever she wanted to do. And it wasn't about what other people said, or I could care less. It's not me. It's somebody else posting. She has total control. And that's what it was. I think anybody should have total control. It's ridiculous
so she
to
was
take that away.
She was posting those things.
Yes.
Because that was the other thing. People are always like, oh, it's this media company that's like taking the stuff and it's a filter and then they put it out. I said the same thing after a while. I was like, no, I think, she likes to see the response. She likes to do it. She likes to see the likes. I mean, eventually she got rid of the comments, but yeah, it's her way of expressing her stuff, and she has fun, and and I think now people have kind of like
I mean,
laid
everybody.
off a little bit of like wondering what it is, and what it
Yes.
is just this is who she is now, and what she does in the future, we'll see. And like it's not, people evolve and change and do other things. So I think it's really that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so you have done quite a bit of acting, and like tell us what has been your favorite role? What are you excited to get into?
I always love comedy. I think comedians in general, as you know, and it takes a certain talent, and it's comedic timing is something that you can't teach. You can't teach somebody to be funny. And I have a love for comedy, and my favorite things to do was comedy shows. I did Black Monday, I did Hacks, and all those things. They're just so fun. It doesn't feel real. It doesn't
That's
feel
right.
like
You
you're
were in
working.
Hacks, but
Yes.
what was your part in Hacks?
I was the sexy Santa with Gene Smart.
Oh yes,
Yes. Yeah. So, it was just a blessing to be a small part of that. And I was in
Do
it.
you get, because you are a personality
Yeah.
as well? Do you get offered roles, or do you still have to like go and audition, or both?
I get offered and auditions as well. Auditions is something that all the actors do. I was just in a director session yesterday. Wish me luck. But it's something that I love to. I love the process. I love the fact that to put in work into something, and I'm willing to do the work that brings back it brings me this high of teamwork. I'm a former athlete. I always love the teamwork aspect of film and TV. I love the fact that it takes so many people to create this amazing thing, and I love that you have to prepare to show something. That's the job of the actor. It's not to show up and just say a bunch of things or offer me this role because I'm good looking. I actually want to be offered roles that have nothing to do with the look whatsoever. So, but comedy is something that I get offered more just because I feel more comfortable doing comedy, and it's something that I love doing. It's just amazing.
Yeah, because I remember you did like Randall's movies.
Yes.
You did a Randall movie, and that was not a comedy.
No, that's action.
Yes.
Yes.
So you'd probably do a lot of action stuff too. With
Action is, I don't think action, it takes, there's a lot of talent that takes action, but for me, action was also a thing that I watched growing up because you don't have to speak the language. It's one of the most international
which is why those
aspect of
movies,
films.
that's why they seem to
Yeah.
pick more of those than the smaller comedies, which is the
Yes.
kind of stuff like I like to watch. But it's true, it's like the big blockbuster
Yes.
things. It's because it can be an international thing.
Yes. So it's sort of,
So that's good.
That was for fun. It's always
Yeah.
that's something, I do a lot of stunt training, and it comes across really well. Those are fun to make. And we just did another one with John Travolta in Miami and the beautiful state of Mississippi. And Mississippi reminded me of Nebraska, which was cool. But I just love to be on set and doing the stuff. But mostly what I love about acting is what it takes to make a movie.
Yeah. Like all the elements of it.
All the elements of it, you talk about an idea one day, and then next day it's greenlit, and then they're going for it, and then what you read on the script you're doing. So it's
Do you
it's
think
really
you'd
cool.
ever want to direct?
So
too?
I think I have to establish being an actor first, and then I can change shoes and put on my directing shoes. But at the moment, I'm really focused on just acting itself. I did a couple years ago. I did a creation of this really cool TV series and called Glitch. And it's sort of about AI and how new AI is going to be effective in our world. And I've done a few things where I kind of co-create and things like that. And I want to build a great team to make those things. So eventually I want to get into, I think that's a part of the entertainment career is what's next. What would you do after?
You spoke of Arnold. Have you met him?
I've met Arnold, yes.
I would imagine that he was fond of you with your attitude.
Yeah, I think it was a brief moment. It was sort of, we spoke, and what I relate to him the most is the fact that an immigrant came here with such a crazy accent and such a crazy thing, and he pretty much sort of started, going after his goals, and And that just tells you how America could embrace you and how you could sort of become the highest paid actor in the world, and you could become governor, and you could become, someone that's inspirational, that reminds other people that anything's possible. You just have to sort of not be afraid and go after things, and rejection is something that's a good thing. And you shouldn't be disencouraged because of the rejections. You could embrace it and get better. And that's what makes the whole story so sweet.
I know you're extremely positive and grateful,
Mhm.
but what was one of the most difficult misconceptions that you had to see or read about yourself in the last 7 years or 10 years?
The conspiracy theory stuff, it wasn't difficult because at the end of the day, some things, even if there's truth to it, you got to do what's right and you have to stick to it. It's not, you can care less about what anybody says. You have to do it. It's your morals. It's you have to be honest. You have to stand up for what's right, regardless of what other people are saying. But again, you're a human being. So if you see something on the news, or you see, not necessarily the news, it's just comments and things like that. It's very difficult. But for me, also those are positive as well. And those are some things that I'm not. I don't blame other people for thinking a certain way, because the situation is what it is. For example, I went on this show called Traders.
Oh, yes. I want to ask you about Traders.
So
you did well on Traders.
Yes. So because I went on that, there's a lot of that type of world has a lot of fans, pop culture fans.
Yeah.
They love it. They anticipation. And when we did the show, no one knew about it. And when they did the cast got leaked at the time. And there was on YouTube, there was a guy that was kind of breaking down of what the cast was like, and he was going person to person, saying how he's going to do. He was Persian himself, and he said, "Oh, that's the Sam guy. He's dating. He was married to this, and we don't really claim him as Persians." And then after the show came out, they set me up a podcast with him. And when he was kind of talking to me, he was, he was like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you. You're my people." And then I said, "Wait a minute, your people? Because you said you didn't claim me." And he's like, no, I never said that. And, I was kind of joking with him. He's got a podcast. He's got a platform. He's got to say certain things to do it. But even he didn't believe it. Even him watching a certain show and watching everything on the news, like you said, when you go so deep, you dig so deep. What I love about conspiracy theorists and people that, go so deep into research is they are on a mission to find something. And when they don't find something, they turn it around and become fans. And I don't think he's a fan now, but, it gives him a different perspective. And I think sometimes you can make friends with the enemy at the end. They will become the best friends of you.
Yeah, that is a great point. Now, let's talk a little bit about Traders.
Sure.
So they just announced the latest season.
Yes.
What were you on season 1 or 2?
I was on season 3.
Oh, it's 3.
So this is the 4th one.
Okay, 3. And what did you love about doing that show? Because I think that would be a fun one to do.
I think everybody's trying to get on that show.
Yeah.
That show is, it's got a really good format.
Yeah.
And people love to be on. I mean, when I went on it, I didn't really want to get into something gossipy because,
right.
The whole time it was a podcast about, what we're talking about now.
Yeah.
So I didn't really want to get into that, but because the format and because you're in the castle sort of trying to figure out things, that quickly goes away. And it was a fun way to for me to show myself and show who I really am and show that how far things could take you if, you're just yourself, especially in a show that show of strategies and things like that.
Right, because you discovered like a real juicy thing that nobody else figured out.
Sure, but I mean, in that show, you go on there, a lot of people from reality, it's a big platform. And so you have to be careful of who you are, and you have to be careful to say a certain thing, not to say a certain thing. You even sometimes say things for it to be popular or for it to go viral. But for me, it was just to, I had a few months off of acting things. It was a free ticket to Scotland, and I always wanted to go see Scotland. And then it was this game, and I figured I'm just going to go be myself. I don't have a strategy. I don't even know what the game is about. Let me
Yeah.
just go on there and be myself. So that sort of
Have you been offered any other reality show?
almost all the
Did
other
you
reality
get
shows.
offered Special Forces?
I don't think so. I think at some point for the previous seasons, yes, multiple times. But I think
Why don't you want to do that?
I do want to do that, but right now,
Because that's so physically enduring. It'd be my worst nightmare. But for you, I think you'd probably
Yeah.
win.
for me, I think I think it's a cool format. I think it's I haven't watched it, but the clips that I've seen, there's a lot of people that are not physically
Right.
And I think you're in great shape, by the way. You can definitely do it.
Please, I can barely play
Yeah.
pickleball. No, I don't think I should be jumping out of a plane.
Yeah.
But I have jumped out of a plane with someone attached to me. But I mean, like,
Yes.
whatever. I could
Yes.
do a swimming thing.
Yes.
And I'm not scared of jumping out of a plane. It would be like carrying anything or whatever.
I want
don't
to
want
do things that I'm not good at because
Yeah.
I want to not prove myself. But I want to surprise myself.
Okay.
Because I think
Would you do Dancing with the Stars?
I think I would do it. Before I was, afraid because if you know me, I'm as limber as this. This couch is actually pretty limber, but that table right there.
Yeah.
So it would have to take a lot of stretching, Pilates, and many other things. But
If
I'm
you were
not
on
afraid.
Dancing with the Stars, I'm just going to say, the first song would be like a Britney song.
And
And then you'd have to dance to that, which is fine.
I
But
think-
you'd embrace it. You'd say it's an opportunity. I'm grateful, right?
as long as I can dance,
Yeah.
as long as I can, get my instrumental, rhythm
Routines,
together.
yeah.
Because it takes a rhythm, and me being Persian, Persians love to dance. I'm not a dancer whatsoever. I can do many other things, but again, it's a cool way to sort of test the abilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe there is a ballerina in me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good one. So what's your next thing that we should look for?
We're doing a few projects at the end of summer, which I'm really excited about. It's an acting project. I will be announcing those soon as well. But this past year has just been a blessing of really focus on acting, really focus on what's out there, what's the second phase of my career. I'm in phase 2 of my career. As you can see, I'm growing out my hair, the beard, and all that stuff.
And you're doing that just to have just to get different looks going?
No,
or-
we have a project coming up for
that's
that.
why you're
that's
growing
that's
it.
that's for
okay.
a reason.
But
But
you'll have to tell me off camera.
yeah, so it's a very exciting part of
Yeah.
my life, and for me, this is fun, and for me, it takes a lot of hard work. And as much as I am humble in my personal life, my goals in the entertainment industry are not humble whatsoever. And for that reason being, I think what really helps me out to go about life is the fact that these things are, I don't find entertainment is hard. It takes a lot of hard work. A lot of people are working very hard, and it's a lot of people that takes to make a project. But at the end of the day, it's not a real job. It's for fun. It's what we dreamed of doing, and we're living our dreams. The real jobs are nurses and doctors and firefighters and policemen are those people that are without them that we wouldn't have a world. And like we said earlier, the country that I was born in is in desperate times right now. They're getting attacked by their own regime. They're getting bombed from all over the place. My dad I haven't spoke to in 4 days. I'm just waiting for a text. So it's those that ground me and makes me realize what is important, and should I be worried about an audition, or should I do my best and walk in there and just sort of have fun and be myself and walk out of it and not worry about it whatsoever. So I think the experience in my life, whether if it was moving here, whether if it was playing a certain sport, whether if it was being away from my family, if it was being in a relationship for 7 years in a situation that was, one of the strangest Hollywood stories, I would say, and what is to come now, which I don't think I've even started yet, is just a blessing. And the good or bad, I'm never going to dwell on them. I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to not be afraid of aging, and I'm just going to have fun, and I'm just going to embrace life as it is.
Well, I'm really glad you came by.
Yes.
I'll be honest, I didn't think you'd be as forthcoming and honest as
Yes.
you were.
Yes.
And you're a delight. And I see a lot of success in your future because you are so determined. And you're right. You've got to ask for the job. You got to say, this is what I want to do. And you clearly know that. And I pray for your family and your country and that things will get resolved and everyone is safe. And thank you for coming on Juicy Scoop. This was great.
Thank you.
And this is your Instagram. Is that the best place for people to follow you? I know you already have a lot of followers, but so it's just your name.
Yeah, it's just.
Look at that. What was that ad for?
That was just a photo shoot that we did for a couple of magazines.
Yeah,
that was one of the
good.
pictures they didn't choose, which was cool.
Well, very nice. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much.